This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Announcer, and thank you for tuning into the Farm Monitor, your weekly source for everything related to Georgia agriculture. I'm Ray DeLessio. As you see, Kenny is off this week. Straight ahead, President Trump's infrastructure proposal and what it means for rural America. An American Farm Bureau expert weighs in on the subject. Also, got a hankering for pizza or maybe soup? Well, how about both? Marcia cooks up a recipe that'll make your favorite comfort food even more comforting. And then later, for 20 years, she has been the heartbeat of Sunbelt Expo, but now she is passing the torch on to someone else. Join us as we bid a tearful goodbye to Sunbelt's VP of Marketing, Gina McDonald. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Farm Monitor. While planting season for a number of states' bigger crops are still months away, farmers should already get a start on making their budget for the year. Damon Jones sat down with one University of Georgia expert who has some tips on what to include and what kind of help is available.
Whether you run a small farm or thousands of acres, it's essential to set a yearly budget for your operation. And that's especially true in this economic climate, as there is very little room for error.
Compared to a few years ago, variable costs are less than they were, but they're coming up. And compared to a few years ago, commodity prices are less than they were. So with variable costs coming up and commodity prices not being as high as they were, margins are getting tighter.
Those margins include input costs that should be considered when deciding what direction to go in for the year.
And there's so many things that they have to think about when deciding what to plant. Crop rotation is one of those things. The economics of the costs of the crops as well, looking at what potential prices might be, as well as what they think their cost of production is going to be.
While the University of Georgia does provide plenty of tools to help, it shouldn't be the only thing farmers rely on when making those decisions.
The University of Georgia row crop enterprise budgets that we create are representative for South Georgia. They're not going to be accurate for the particular farm. And so ideally, each farmer will take the budget and adjust the numbers to reflect their typical yield and production practices. And then the big thing that they need to think about is, all right, what potential problems might we see coming up in the future? If they maybe had some disease problems or a nematode issue in a particular field, are they going to need to have some additional sprays for chemicals to treat that to make sure that they have enough yield? And so accounting for all of the costs is really, really important.
Budgeting for the weather and possible problems in the field aren't the only things that should be taken into account, as unexpected costs to repair machinery is also a major problem farmers are facing today.
A lot of times what has happened in the past is a good gauge as far as an estimate of what those costs might be, but we're also aware that farmers are not replacing implements as rapidly as they had several years ago when farm incomes were a little bit higher, and holding on to tractors a little bit longer as well. So repairs and maintenance might be a little bit higher because they're dealing with older equipment.
So while a number of factors need to be considered while setting the yearly budget, there is one practice that can help make the process much easier and effective.
Keep good records. And so hopefully they've had excellent records from last year and the year before and several years back. And then they can evaluate those and see, all right, where have we been spending extra money? Is there a particular area that we can focus on trying to manage our costs?
Reporting from Tifton, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Thank you, Damon. In other ag news, the American Farm Bureau Federation says President Trump's $200 billion federal infrastructure plan would bring long overdue improvements to rural areas. AFBF Congressional Relations Director Andrew Walmsley says one of the attractive things about the proposal is that it provides a lot of local control back to the states to prioritize those rural projects that are most needed in their communities.
Farmers are pretty dependent on a whole host of different infrastructure needs, from roads and bridges to our inland waterways to rail to rural water systems, obviously broadband, being able to connect to the world and having access to that technology, and connecting many of the innovative things we're doing on our farm through smart farming and different technologies, and something that we appreciate the President pushing forward, recognizing the unique needs of rural America.
An impressive show of strength for the Georgia Farm Bureau in Atlanta as hundreds of members attended the annual GFB Day at the Capitol. Of course, it's a unique event that gives farmers and their representatives a chance to both meet and learn from each other. John Holcomb was there and has the story.
Good morning. It's my honor today to recognize Georgia Farm Bureau Day at the Capitol.
Once a year, two different worlds come together as farmers from all over the state make the trip to Atlanta for a chance to have their voices heard at the state capitol. And as always, the turnout was impressive, as around 500 farmers packed the depot for a morning briefing by GFB President Gerald Long.
The main goal today is just to let legislators know of Farm Bureau's presence across our state and the strong grassroots network that we have that pays attention to the political process and is heavily involved. And they participate. They're up to date on their issues. They're active, and when things are impacting them on the farm, they don't hesitate to show up and voice those concerns or support for issues that their legislators are carrying at the Capitol every day.
This day is an important one for agriculture, as it gives farmers a chance to connect with those that represent them and ultimately make decisions that affect them and their operations on a day-to-day basis.
Today is a good opportunity for our members to get out and see the representatives and let them know what they need or feel, because I've always been under the impression, and I still am, but these people work for us. We elected them to be here, and we need to make sure they're doing their job.
Members are not the only ones that look forward to this day in Atlanta. Representatives are also happy to see members there, packing the Capitol building full, being active, and talking with them about issues they're facing.
As legislators, we really look forward to our constituents coming up, our ag people, to let us know what's on their mind. It's very important that we hear straight from them the issues, and then we can take it back here to the legislature and work on those things.
As legislators open session, they open up the floor for debates on legislation. But according to State Affairs Coordinator Alex Bradford, it's not always new legislation. It is oftentimes legislation that has already been passed and needs some work.
A lot of times it's identifying things that may not be the direct consequence of a bill or the intent, but may have some repercussions that impact agriculture, and we try to identify those and rectify that situation in committees and before they vote on them on the floor.
While at the Capitol, President Long, as in past years, got a chance to take the podium in both the House and Senate to address legislators, showing his importance to the Georgia ag industry as the state's largest ag organization.
We thank y'all for everything that you do to help agriculture be successful, so that each county in this state can be successful, and not only make agriculture #1 in Georgia, but make Georgia #1 in the nation.
During their lunch break, representatives joined members for a meal back at the depot. Governor Deal was even in attendance and took the podium, showing just how much importance and respect this organization has.
It's the largest ag organization in the state of Georgia, and we have got to have a voice. I don't care if you're a hunter, a fisherman, or agriculture or anything. Georgia Farm Bureau can give you the voice in the legislative side of anything that comes up in the state.
Reporting at the state capitol in Atlanta for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Up next on the Monitor, meals from the field and a unique recipe that'll have both pizza lovers and soup lovers begging for more.
Hi, I'm Tripp Cofield. I'm the new National Affairs Coordinator at Georgia Farm Bureau. I'm in charge mainly of our national lobbying efforts, so up on Congress, or up on Capitol Hill with Congress, and in D.C. over at the White House within the administration. Grew up actually next door to my grandparents. They had several acres behind the house and a small family farm. But I moved up to Boston, Massachusetts back in 2008, went to law school. studied tax law, some financial services. Went to Capitol Hill and fell in love with the service side on Capitol Hill. Worked in a personal office, most recently for Rob Woodall, who's Georgia's 7th district. It's most of Gwinnett County and parts of southern Forsyth County. It's almost like a foreign language to people if you haven't worked in it. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work to understand it. So it's nice to be able to go down and talk to farmers and be able to explain to them what's going on and why you should be worried about this over here, but maybe not so much about what's going on over there. There aren't as many farmers today as there used to be in Congress. Fewer farmers up there. So I think it's important to go and chat with the legislators and kind of connect the dots for them, help them understand what it is that farmers do down here and how what they're doing in D.C. matters, how it impacts farms. Those are the kinds of things I want to open that line of communication, make sure everybody's kind of on the same page, and if we have a good idea or a bad idea or a good policy or a bad policy, that we're in early. The farmers have faces. To me, it's my grandfather, it's my grandfather's friends, it's my family, it's Georgia, it's South Georgia. Again, so it's wonderful for me. When I got to Capitol Hill, I asked for a handful of issues when my former boss asked me what I wanted to do, and ag was one of them. Taxes was one. Obviously, I did that in law school, but ag was one. And why? Because it has that personal nexus. For me, it's Georgia, it's home, it's all of those things.
All right, welcome back to the Farm Monitor and to another edition of, get this, Meals from the Field. Hopefully I remember how to do this. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Again, welcome back, everybody.
Good to
As
see you,
always,
Ray.
joined by my good friend and partner in crime, Marcia Crowley, and I say I hope we remember how to do this because I haven't seen you since November.
We had to cancel last month.
We had to cancel last month because of the weather, and I do want to say, by the way, we still had a Meals from the Field last week, and we ran some of our favorite Super Bowl recipes. And the chicken cups, phenomenal. We had people writing in. They forgot about that recipe. Big hit. So thank you very much for the chicken recipe.
That's one of the best.
And yeah, the chicken cups are definitely one of my favorites. And I think you were going to like this month's recipes, one of which, and don't laugh, is pizza soup. This was my idea, by the way. I called Marcia. I said, we have to do pizza soup. What does pizza have to do with Meals from the Field? Well, think about it.
Peppers, onions,
tomatoes,
garlic.
So it's all agriculture related. Sausage, exactly. So there's a lot of things involved there. But let's talk about the pizza soup. I know there's a lot of recipes out there. You actually came up with your own recipe. So talk about that.
All right, this is a pound of sweet Italian sausage that I've browned. And if it's got a lot of grease in it, you might want to drain it, but this looks okay. All right, I'm going to add to that a cup of onion, a cup of bell pepper, and a cup of sliced mushrooms, which I'm pretty sure we grow all of in Georgia. And you're going to saute that for a minute. And like I said, we were planning on doing this last month, remember? And then we got snowed out, but it was so good, I thought, well, we've got to come back and do this.
You had never had pizza soup until I gave you that idea, and you like it now, don't you?
Oh, it's great. I love it. And it freezes well. All right, we're going to saute. And normally you would saute it for about 5 minutes. The peppers, the onions, and the fresh mushrooms. I guess you could use canned, but it won't be the same thing. All right, we're going to add to that.
We're all about freshness. We're all about, good stuff from the garden, so use fresh mushrooms if you can.
A 14-ounce jar of pizza sauce of your liking. And I know a lot of people think that's cheating, but it's really not. I don't think so. Anytime you can streamline an ingredient, I'm there.
My mom would disagree with you.
Oh, she would make her own pizza sauce, probably. And you can do that. Like if you've put up a bunch of tomatoes in the summer, we're going to add to that 2 cups of water, a cup of fresh chopped tomatoes. Actually, it's more like 1 large tomato, which would be a little bit more than a cup. Let me turn this up just a little bit. Stir that in. There's some garlic, fresh garlic, and Italian seasoning. I tried this with more pepperoni than sausage, and it just was overpowering. So this is a pound of sausage and about a 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of chopped, sliced pepperoni. And then you just simmer that for 20-30 minutes. And when you go to serve it in the bowls, you're going to serve it with mozzarella and Parmesan cheese on top.
See how easy that is?
It's so easy. All right, we're going to let that Let me turn that down. We'll let that simmer a minute. We don't want to burn ourselves. All right, that goes really well with this cheesy flatbread.
Okay.
And this is a store-bought refrigerated pizza crust. You need to either lightly grease a pizza pan or parchment paper. This pizza crust actually came with the parchment paper.
I'm going to try to throw it up and spin it for you?
Yes, sure. Why don't you do that?
I tried that, true story, I tried that one time at home and it went everywhere.
I would never try that. It would be a mess.
My lovely wife said I am barred from doing that ever again. So.
Smart lady.
Yes.
All right, you're going to brush this pizza crust with a quarter of a cup of melted butter that's got chopped garlic and Italian seasoning. You're just going to brush it on there liberally. Lots of garlic on there. We like garlic. If you don't like garlic, you can leave it out. Then you're going to top that with a cup of mild cheddar cheese, shredded. And this tastes just like the cheesy bread that you would order from a delivery pizza company, except it's so easy and cheap.
And it's homemade.
And it's homemade. And the kids, this is something the kids could do. And then 3/4 of a cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. And you're going to bake this at 400 for about 10 minutes. And it is to die for.
It does, and it looks really good. We've got the finished product over here. That is the cheesy bread there. And you could cut it up any way you like. You can make
squares,
little breadsticks and things like that.
Triangles, however you want to.
And then, as Marcia does every month, you and Holly are so good at decorating
Holly's
things.
so good at decorating.
So I had to show that and
she's the decorating diva.
Look at that. It makes you not even want to eat the soup. I'm kidding. I'm going to devour that.
I don't think we'll have a problem with that. Seriously.
And again, the stuff is really easy to make.
Very easy.
And it sits well, like you said. It lasts. You can put it in the refrigerator for a couple days as well.
I've frozen it. It freezes great. So if if there's any left by chance, you can stick it in the freezer.
And folks, as always, you can make these recipes at home. Very simple. Want to send you to our new website, farm-monitor.com. You'll find the recipes there. Click on the recipe tab. Everything is very simple there to make, and again, I think it's going to be the big hit of your party. Very nice to see you again,
Good to see you,
and we
Ray.
can't thank you enough for all these delicious recipes.
Hope you enjoy.
When we come back, changes at the Sunbelt Expo and an emotional goodbye.
I got a lot of good friends, and I'm just going to miss that. The camaraderie. I have to say I'll miss the adrenaline rush.
So we hadn't had a 4-H club in the northern part of Fulton County for at least a decade, if not more. And there was a lot of interest from alumni and families in this area of having a 4-H club.
We just knew from our friends around the state who are involved in 4-H what a great program it is, and we wanted it here in Atlanta. And we talked to some people over the years about doing it, but there wasn't exactly the right space for it.
Through a meeting that happened by chance at National 4-H Congress between Sheffield Hale, the CEO here at the Atlanta History Center, and Sheldon Hammond, they started talking about 4-H and how 4-H needs a bigger presence in the urban areas.
We started talking about how do we get 4-H here, and what we really needed was a position, and we talked to them about, so we'd be happy to provide the space.
The Atlanta History Center had made the offer of having space, actually having office space here, and then later made the promise to help fund that agent position through collaborative funding. So one of the new partnerships we've been able to get started is our partnership with Farm Chastain. Our Fulton Fresh 4-H Club meets there once a month, and that is being supported also by our North Fulton Master Gardeners. Rosie Davidson is one of our Master Gardeners in the county. She's been teaching and leading our classes there as part of the Fulton Fresh 4-H Club. So the kids have been able to go through the farm, taste all of the vegetables and herbs that are growing, learn about gardening and farming, We've also hosted 4-H yoga for kids at the farm and how to create healthy snacks. Not only are we engaging a new partner in Farm Chastain and Chastain Park, but we've been able to re-engage our North Fulton Master Gardeners who haven't really had a 4-H program to volunteer for in the past. So it's been a great way to connect a really dedicated group of volunteers that already existed, that were passionate about UGA Extension, and engage them in a new way with our youth.
In Atlanta, you think that there's so many opportunities. How could you possibly need another organization? But 4-H fills a unique niche.
We're hoping that this partnership is a catalyst to expand to other organizations, other neighborhoods, other cities here in Fulton County.
It's worked out extremely well, and I'm looking forward to a long partnership. One that this is just the beginning. You know, the craziness has just begun.
Finally this week, Sunbelt Expo is saying goodbye to one of its own. Gina McDonald, Vice President of Marketing, is retiring after 20 years. Rest assured, though, she is leaving the position in very good hands. The person now charged with trying to fill Gina's shoes, Becca Turner, who prior to joining Sunbelt Expo was Associate Professor of Communications at ABAC. The Monitor sat down with both Gina and Becca for what proved to be a pretty emotional farewell and introduction.
I guess it was right about Thanksgiving, and my husband and I talked about me cutting back a little bit, going part-time just to have more time at home to do some things. And it was funny. I said, well, you know, I could come talk with Chip and maybe look at doing part-time. And he said, no, you can't do that to Chip. Just go ahead and quit. It was just the timing in this job. People think we do just Expo, but you've got 2 arts and crafts shows a year, you've got a field day, and probably there's never an ideal time to where you just exit and there's not gonna leave anybody in a lurch. But for me, this was my last Expo. It was 20 years. Then my 20-year anniversary is in last of this month in February. So I like round numbers, 20's it, and so we just decided to make this change.
Knowing that someone's been so successful and that she has been here for 20 years and the Expo is doing so well and the marketing and PR have been so strong, as far as, you know, considering other organizations within this area, and the level that Gina is doing it at has been wonderful. And so to follow that is extremely intimidating and puts a lot of pressure. And we joke about that, you know, I seem to ask all of these questions that she has to really think and really make her mind work because she's so used to doing it. It just sort of comes as second nature.
Senator Saxby Chambliss brought a lot of great people to the show, and that's been a huge part. I've got to see and meet some of the best people in American agriculture. So yeah, probably hosting the dignitaries, things like that. Of course, all of our Farmer of the Year, the nominees this past year, we had an outstanding nominee who had an incredible story. When you get to meet the farmers, the actual producers that are doing it every day, and they're so humble and they just don't want any credit for what they're doing their job, and some of the finest people on this earth that you will ever get to meet.
Biggest thing you're going to miss about Sunbelt?
People. Great, again. My media people said I wasn't gonna cry, but I got a lot of good friends, and I'm just gonna miss that. The camaraderie. I have to say I'll miss the adrenaline rush. The week before the show is, and when the show's going on, it's incredible. You just go, 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 go. You do it, you look back, you think, wow, we did another one. But it's all about the people. My friends, love them dearly. So, how about that?
And we are certainly going to miss her. Hey, don't forget, for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm, be sure to check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and with us here at the show. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week right here on the Farm Monitor.